Let me ask you something. What if I told you that a tiny 21-mile stretch of water could bring the entire global economy to its knees? Well, today we're going to dive into a scenario that is, frankly, terrifyingly plausible: the complete shutdown of the Strait of Hormuz. Let's really unpack what that would look like.
So it all starts right here, a channel of water that's just 21 miles wide at its narrowest point. I mean, it doesn't look like much on a map, right? But believe me, this little strip of water is one of the most critical choke points on the entire planet. Why is it so critical? Well, through that narrow passage flows 20% of the whole world's daily oil supply. Think about that. 1 out of every 5 barrels of oil the world uses every single day passes right through there. That's the stuff that powers, well, everything. Our cars, our factories, basically our entire way of life. And it's not just oil. On top of that, you've got a full quarter of the world's liquefied natural gas, or LNG, traveling the same route. We're talking about the fuel that keeps the lights on and homes warm for millions and millions of people, which makes this strait absolutely vital, especially for huge economies in Asia and Europe. It's really no wonder people call it the global artery. It is the perfect metaphor, right? It's this irreplaceable lifeline for the world's energy. And what happens when an artery gets clogged? The whole system doesn't just slow down, it goes into shock.
And that's a term we really need to understand: systemic shock. This is so much more than just, paying a few extra bucks for gas. No. This is like a domino effect on a global scale, a full-on cascade of failures that just ripples through everything. We're talking factories going dark, supply chains just snapping, and of course, financial markets being thrown into a complete and total panic.
So you might be wondering, how could a nightmare like this even begin? Well, the sources we looked at map out a scenario that is, let's just say, chillingly specific. This is the trigger event. Okay, so picture this. The date is February 28th, 2026. A US and Israeli strike hits Iran, and the retaliation is swift and severe. We're talking hours. Just hours later, Iran shuts down the Strait of Hormuz. Boom. Tankers are blocked, merchant ships are getting attacked, and the markets, they react instantly. Oil skyrockets past $120 a barrel. LNG prices, they just go vertical, straight up. And folks, that's just the beginning. That's only the first shockwave. It slams right into the energy market, and the countries that depend on that global artery the most, they get hit with, well, catastrophic force.
And this table, wow, it really lays bare just how vulnerable Asia is. I mean, look at Japan. A staggering 90% of its oil comes through that strait. 90%. For a manufacturing powerhouse like South Korea, we're talking over 80% of their energy is now at risk. For China, the biggest importer of this oil in the world, this is a supply chain nightmare. And for India, it's a double whammy. Higher fuel costs immediately mean higher food prices.
But make no mistake, this isn't just a problem for Asia. A prolonged shutdown could add almost a full point to global inflation. So what does that mean for you and me? It means higher prices for everyone, everywhere, for pretty much everything. Okay, so the main artery is blocked. The obvious question is, can't we just find a bypass? Is there a backup plan? Can't we just go around? Well, let's take a look at the options. This chart right here, it just puts the problem in perspective. It's huge. See that big bar? That's Hormuz, handling around 20 million barrels of oil a day. Now look at the other bar. That's all the other bypass routes combined. They can only take about 7 million. You do the math. That leaves a massive, unfillable gap of 13 million barrels every single day. There's no way to make that up. And even that limited capacity is full of problems. I mean, for starters, you just create new bottlenecks. Ports like Yanbu get totally overwhelmed, and guess what? They become new targets. So you're not getting rid of the risk, you're just moving it to another dangerous spot like the Bab el Mandeb. And remember all that LNG from Qatar? Zero pipeline bypass. It's a complete dead end. And then the final nail in the coffin. The insurance market just collapses. War risk coverage? Gone. Canceled. So even if you could get a ship through, it would be financially impossible. So with no real bypass, no way around it, the crisis breaks containment. It's like a virus. It escapes the energy markets and starts to infect literally every part of our globalized world, from the food on your plate to the phone in your hand. Yeah, this quote from one of the sources we reviewed just nails it.
It's not just a waterway, it's the artery of the global economy. And this whole scenario just pulls back the curtain and shows you how incredibly fragile the whole system is. You block one little artery, and the entire body starts to shut down.
Like, think about this for a second. It's not just oil tankers stuck out there. It's ships packed with fertilizer. And if those can't get through, fertilizer costs could jump 30% globally. And what does that mean? It means farmers can't grow as much food, which means food prices go up for all of us. This becomes a direct threat to food security all over the world.
Okay, here's one you probably didn't see coming. Helium, right? Qatar is a huge producer of helium, and you need that stuff to make semiconductors, the little brains inside all our electronics. So with Qatar's exports blocked, a key ingredient for the entire tech industry just vanishes. Suddenly, making everything from your phone to your car to life-saving medical gear gets a whole lot harder.
And amidst all this economic chaos, we can't forget the very real human cost. These attacks on ships, they're not just headlines or statistics. They mean people are dying, real people. We're talking about the seafarers who spend their lives on these ships, keeping our world running. They are put right on the front lines, in incredible danger.
And this is how a crisis on the other side of the planet lands right on your doorstep. For a family in Keystone City, or in London, or in Ohio, it doesn't matter where. This distant event suddenly becomes incredibly real. It's in the price you pay at the grocery store. It's in the cost to fill up your car. So you see, closing the Strait of Hormuz isn't just an oil problem. It's a food crisis. It's a tech crisis. It's a global security crisis, all rolled into one. It's this brutal reminder that our entire modern world is balanced on just a few of these incredibly fragile arteries. And it leaves you with a really unsettling question, doesn't it? If this one choke point can unravel everything, what happens when the next one closes? Are we ready for that?